I have to agree with this guy here. Between the fact that we had to move our clocks an hour forward, meaning I actually just kind of lost an hour of sleep. And, well, technically, yeah, I did, but I'll be starting to feel it later, I guarantee. And the fact that, without question, yesterday's episode of Amphibia was the most emotionally heavy episode of probably this whole series so far. If I look completely exhausted, that's why. Holy smokes. Well, nowhere else to start but my low, my high, my act of kindness. So, let's see, what was my low? Oh, yeah, I lost an hour of sleep. I'll just do that. Why not? My high, I got to see my family yesterday. I got to see my nephews yesterday. All my nephews. You know, it was great. And that said, and we have yesterday's episode of Amphibia, which is awesome. And my act of kindness was... What was my act of kindness yesterday? Oh, right. We all had dinner as a family yesterday. And it was actually at my brother's place. And I offered to clean up. But they didn't really need my help. But, you know, I offered. Sometimes it's the thoughts that count, you know? But anyway, I said yesterday's episode of Amphibia was the most emotionally heavy episode we've had so far. And I'm being serious. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Let's rock. Okay, so this was an episode of two 11-minute segments, Ivy on the Run and After the Rain. I'll be getting into the latter soon, don't worry. But Ivy on the Run actually focused on a rather more and more prominent secondary character in Ivy, which, for those of you who don't know, Sprig and Ivy are, I mean, they're sort of, some people say they're a couple, others don't. I mean, I find them adorable, that's just me. And Ivy lives with her mom, and they own a tea shop. And her mom is teaching her like all the sort of tea ceremony stuff that is like all frilly and, you know, girly. And Ivy really isn't into that. She's established that she's never been into that. And you just tell like her, she's adventurous, she's outgoing. She ambushes Sprig whenever she gets a chance. Yeah, again, their relationship is just adorable to me. Meanwhile, a secondary plot point in that episode, you have Anne teaching Polly Muay Thai, which, shout out to Matt Brawley for, again, incorporating another part of his own heritage into the series. Which, if you don't know, Matt Brawley is Thai-American, as well as Brenda Song, the voice of Anne in Amphibia, is also Thai-American. And, you know, if it wasn't the Lily Pad Thai episode, it's this episode teaching more about Thai culture, which is great. But again, they're both Thai-American. I would hope they would get that sort of thing right. But that's just me. Anyway, so Ivy's fed up. She wants to like run away. And at the end of the episode, and throughout the episode, Anne is teaching Polly how to do Muay Thai. And Polly can't do it because she's not very patient, which I'll be getting to that momentarily. Meanwhile, One-Eyed Wally shows up, and he gets Muay Thai like right away. It's hilarious. He has a funny bit right at the end too. I'll get to that momentarily. But Ivy wants to leave, and she says, I want to learn martial arts. And her mom's like, really? Okay. You fight me right now. You have one chance to beat me in 3 rounds. And, you know, you can go if you beat me even once. And it turns out, all those tea ceremony things has actually been preparing Ivy to go out into the real world for herself. With her mom, eventually. So, yeah, it's sort of like Karate Kid meets probably 2010's Karate Kid. As well as, you know, the whole wanting to run away because your parents don't understand you thing. I think it works here pretty well. It's a great plot device at the end. Not to mention, like at the end, when pretty much all's well that ends well, Wally's just sitting there watching the entire time like, I have no idea what's going on. Meanwhile, Polly shows up trying to get Anne again, and Anne ducks and winds up missing Molly's missing her, and hitting one-eyed Polly. And then the episode ends with Polly being like, that was technically your fault, Anne. Oh, that cracked me up so much. Oh. You know what? Looking back, I actually need an episode like this because it had to prepare me for what was next, which is After the Rain, which is the second half of this episode. Now, Marcy sends them a letter saying she's on her way and, get some stuff prepared and make sure they have the music box, or the calamity box, as we all know what it's called. Meanwhile, Hop Pop is freaking out because he buried it, so he has to go get it, right? It turns out the place where it was buried it was still there, but the box was gone. Shocking, isn't it? Anne finds out, and yeah, it's one of those lie reveal things, but they actually take the time to explain both sides of the argument. See, on the one hand, I'll get to the argument in a second. Meanwhile, it turns out everyone's stuff is getting stolen. It turns out these bugs that dig underground and steal people's stuff from underneath, that's what caused the music box to be taken. That's what's causing everything to be stolen. And so they all band together, get the music box back, and then so many things are revealed. Particularly the fact as to how Sprig and Polly's parents had passed away. First of all, I'm pretty sure every Amphibia fan knew that the whole thing about Hop Pop taking the music box and burying it, that was going to be brought up. We all knew this. And eventually, we all knew that after we learned that Sprig's mom had passed away, near the end of part 1 of season 2, we knew maybe that was going to be touched upon. I don't think anyone ever thought that both would be established here. And for those of you who want to know what happened, it turns out that when Sprig and Polly were really young, there was a time when Hop Pop went away for a while. I think he had some sort of trip to go on or something. They didn't really explain what it was. But it turns out a group of giant herrings attacked Wartwood. Now, Sprig and Polly were able to hide inside of a bunker, so they were safe. But their parents, not so much. And to this day, Hop Pop actually feels guilty because if he had been there, maybe things would have been different. But we don't know. And Sprig and Polly were very clear. What happened was in no way Hop Pop's fault whatsoever. They established that. They're like, Hop Pop, it wasn't your fault. And this is what makes good writing. Because an argument can be made for both sides. Hop Pop read about what the Calamity Box does and how it could bring about destruction. He wanted to protect his family. But at the same time, Anne kind of has to go home. That's the whole point of this story. Anne is trying to find her way home with Marcy and Sasha. And you can easily make an argument for both sides. And they would hold a great and very equal amount of weight to it. That is why this episode is so good. I don't even know, what else I could say, without giving away too much. Other than how the episode ends, which is Hop Pop reveals the book in which he read about the Calamity Box, and he shows them to Anne, Sprig, and Polly. Honestly, it was about time they learned about it too. As well as, again, why Hop Pop did what he did. And the family all comes together and are like, listen, this is going to be a more dangerous adventure, going to these 3 temples and, figuring out how the Calamity Box works. It's going to be a dangerous mission. We don't really know what is going to happen. And Anne just says, you know what? After what happened last night, I think we can get through anything. For the record, the episode was called After the Rain because the climax of the episode, where they get the box back, takes place in the rain. As well as when, Hop Pop reveals why he did what he did. All happened in the rain. So, it's very clear that at this point, the kid gloves are coming off in this season. as time goes on, we're going to learn so much about the world of Amphibia. So many emotions are going to be brought up. Happy, sad, anger, all that stuff is going to be brought to the forefront. Hopefully in the best possible way. And even though I would hate... If this show was on like 15, 16 years ago, I would hate what might actually happen. As in, not only is season 2 going to end on a cliffhanger, it's going to end in a way I don't want it to end, where something bad happens and you leave it on a cliffhanger. I know this because that's what happened at the end of Book 2 of Avatar, The Last Airbender. To this day, I'm still kind of shook up about that. And I'm still kind of mad. I mean, I forgave it, but hey, you can still be mad at something and still forgive, you know? Well, I think you can anyway. That's just me. My point is, while I'm an adult and maybe it's going to likely be like how, you know, Book 2 of Avatar ended. If it does, you know what, at least I'm more emotionally prepared for it as an adult than I was, again, 15, 16 years ago. So, there's that. I mean, I kind of hope it ends on a happier note. Maybe something optimistic for season 3. But we have to wait until episode 41 apparently comes out. Which, if they show this weekly from now until the end of the season, I think it'll be around Memorial Day weekend when season 2 ends. Which, cool. Hopefully it won't be that way long until season 3. Plus, at least we're getting a consistent weekly, you know, head count basis. Plus, if it turns out that season 2 ends on Memorial Day weekend, it's gonna be a great way to cap off that weekend for sure. Because it'll be the first weekend I'm back up in Cuckoo Lake. Hopefully. We'll have to see. Anyway, I'm sure there's going to be so many sorts of, you know, videos and speculation online that are going to last forever, talking about what is going to potentially happen next for the Planner family. I mean, for sure, one YouTube channel I watch is called the Roundtable. Shout out to Awestruck Fox and the good people at the Roundtable. I'll put a link to your channel in the description below so people know to see you guys, because you guys are awesome. And they do such a great job of breaking down. That's actually why I consider myself a casual fan for stuff like Amphibia or One Piece. Because channels like the Roundtable or the Grand Line Review for One Piece, like, they do a much better job at breaking down stuff than I can. I mean, I can get stuff here and there, but those guys are like veritable geniuses at what they do. And they deserve all the praise for what they do. But, in any case, you know what? That actually does remind me. As long as I'm thinking about it. It's thanks to the Roundtable, because sometimes YouTube channels have like a poll saying like what is like your favorite like something or other. The Roundtable actually did Cartoon Network original movies. And with the exception of maybe one, because here's the thing, there are 5 Cartoon Network original movies that I love to death. I do. So much so that if I ever made a top 5, it'd be hard to break down who'd be number 1. So, even though there's only 4 choices in this particular poll that I'm talking about that the Roundtable did, literally every single one of those is in my Mount Rushmore of Cartoon Network original movies. So, before I end this off, I think I'll do what's essentially my Mount Rushmore / top 5 of Cartoon Network original movies. So, let's talk about the one that wasn't mentioned in the poll, which was Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip. What can I say, man? You know, that was like the OG one. And it came out right before the new millennium. I'm never going to forget the hype about that one. Now, the ones that were on the poll, Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure, which, it's the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That show is just great. So that's 2 of them. Kids Next Door, Operation Zero. Seriously, to this day, the reveal of number 0 still floored me, even now. And the stakes of it all were just perfect. Steven Universe, the movie. Yeah, this one's a little recent, but I don't care. I loved it that much. You know, great music. You know, I saw when it first aired, commercial free, which was awesome. And I don't know what else I can say other than that's something I definitely recommend. And easily the one I would always say for last, Ed, and Eddie's Big Picture Show. That show, Ed, and Eddie, that was my jam growing up as a Cartoon Network. I mean, I love Nickelodeon, I love Disney Channel, I love Cartoon Network. When it came to Cartoon Network, my favorite show, hands down, Ed, and Eddie. Like, I've seen every episode of that show at least twice, and they had a movie which ended the series on the highest of possible notes, starting off with one of the greatest chase sequences I've ever seen in any movie, live action, animated, or otherwise. So, yes, you now know my top 5 / Mount Rushmore of Cartoon Network original movies. Figured I better do something special, just because, what can I say? The Roundtable is such a good channel, just brought out of me. Again, I'll put a link to their channel in the description down below. Anyway, I have nothing better planned today. Just gonna make myself some breakfast. Gonna see my folks later. It's gonna be a good day. Like, share, and subscribe button. Follow me on social platforms. Turn on you guys on YouTube. I'm very home in this video for all you guys who are watching. Enjoy today. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Remember, you guys, I want to talk and chat. I'm always gonna be here to learn and I'll see you back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.